Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I am going to be updating you on my savings and sinking funds for the month of March. Now, earlier in the month, I did upload a video showing you that I was adding certain amounts to my sinking funds and savings accounts based on my paycheck. However, I did receive a stimulus as well as my federal tax return, so I ended up putting more into my sinking funds and savings accounts than I had anticipated. So I'm just going to do this video to update you all on what my ending balances for my savings accounts are as of today, which is March 29th. I do not anticipate adding any more money to these accounts in the next few days because I will receive my next paycheck on the 31st. And at that time, I will add additional funds to these accounts. But before then, I will not be adding anything. And when I do get those funds on the 31st, that money will be reflected in my next month's sinking funds tracker. So I'm going to kind of do this a little backwards. So as you can see, I already have some amounts added or listed in the added columns for most of these accounts. And I have over to my right my Capital One account, which is where I have all of my savings accounts or my sinking funds stored as savings accounts. And so I have those current balances over here to my right. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to work backwards. So for my emergency fund, my current balance, which is what I'm calling my ending balance, is $1,100.96. Okay. And so let me zoom you in just a tad. There we go. Okay. So this is my current balance, which means I actually added $100 to my emergency fund this month. Now, I know there may be people out there who do not agree because I have tried my hardest to follow Dave Ramsey's 7 baby steps to financial freedom. And according to Dave Ramsey, baby step one is to save $1,000 in your emergency fund. And of course, as at the beginning of this month, I did have $1,000 and some change because of interest in my emergency fund. However, I have decided to continue saving in my emergency fund each month, even if it's an amount as small as $50. And I've chosen to personally save a little more because if you watch any of my other videos, you know that I am not necessarily the best saver. And with everything that has transpired over the last year, I would feel more comfortable if I have more than $1,000 in my emergency fund. So I have chosen to continue to add to my emergency fund. So with this addition of this $100, I do have a little over $1,100 in my account at the end of March. Moving down to my next sinking funds, which was my sorority dues, I currently have $75 even in that account, which means if I started with $30 and I added $27 through my paycheck, I ended up adding $18 more than what I anticipated based on the extra income I received from my tax return and my stimulus. So in total, I added $45 to my sorority due sinking fund for the month. Costco. For Costco, this is going to be an interesting one because for Costco, my membership renewal was actually due this month. So I ended up with, once I added the $60 to the $60 that was already in the account, I ended up with $120, but I still ended up spending that $120 for the renewal. But then I also added $10 more again because of the extra income that I received. So, and honestly, I'm going to go back up here because I don't like how that looks. Okay, so that means I started with 60. I added 60. Then I took away 120. And then I went back and added 10 more. So my ending balance is actually $10.02. And that's because of interest. Okay. So moving down to my car tag. So I started the month with $140.05. with my paycheck for the month, I added $144. But I will tell you that my current balance is actually $509, which means if I come over here to my calculator, I'll take the $500.09, subtract the 140.05, and then also subtract the $144, and that tells me that I actually put in an extra $216 in addition to what I put in at the end of the month. Okay. So again, if I go across, just to double check that these amounts are correct, I have 140, 144, and then 216.04 gives me the, the $500.09. And again, I apologize about the glare from my tripod. Okay, moving down to car maintenance. Now, this is a fund that I really added some money to this month. So, in car maintenance, I started the month with $20 in there. When I got paid, I added $25. And then I also added additional funds when I received the extra income this month. So now my balance is sitting at $105, which means if I take the $105 and subtract the $20 that I added at the beginning of the month, that I had at the beginning of the month, and then also subtracting the $25 I put in once I got paid, then it tells me that once I got that extra income, I put in $60 extra. So I actually added a total of $85 to this sinking fund for the month. All right, moving down to my medical and dental account. So this is another huge one. I'm actually, at this point in time, I have $100.01 in the account. I started the month with $20 in the account. Then I also added $25 with my paycheck, which means I ended up adding $55 and a penny with the extra income. Now on to Christmas. So Christmas, I am ending the month with $100, which I am so proud of, because if you watch any of my other videos, I think, as a matter of fact, my first video from the beginning of March, I mentioned that one of the reasons I kind of went MIA with posting videos was the fact that I just completely overspent in December for Christmas. And that was because I did not appropriately budget for Christmas. I did not have a Christmas thinking fund. So I was literally buying gifts on a whim, which completely threw my budget off and unfortunately added to my debt. So this year, you will not catch me slipping. I know I mentioned Dave Ramsey's baby steps, but one of the things that I have really been enjoying in my budgeting journey is YNAB. And YNAB has its own principles. And one of those principles is to embrace your true expenses. So true expenses in YNAB are essentially your sinking funds. So these are expenses that you know are going to come up every year. You may not necessarily know how much they will be, the exact amounts, but you know that they're going to happen. So I know every year I'm going to have to get a new car tag. And every year I'm going to have to get service on my car at least 3 or 4 times a year. So these are all true expenses. And the thing about true expenses is by saving up for them along the way, you're able to really, according to YNAB, break the paycheck to paycheck cycle and get out of debt, because you already have the money, or some money, at least enough to where you can go ahead and cover those expenses as they arise, and instead of having to charge them off on a credit card. So I went off on that tangent to say Christmas is a true expense. Christmas is one of those things that happens every year, and I just want to be more prepared for Christmas this year. So I started the month with $40 in the account for Christmas. I added $29 when I got paid, and then I turned around and added $31 more from the extra income that I received. So in total, I added an additional $60 to the beginning balance for my Christmas savings fund. So savings challenges are now on hold. So I did not add anything here to my savings challenge account. Now, what I'm very proud of, and this is the last sinking fund for the day, I'm really proud to say that I started out with $0 towards subscriptions, but after I filed my taxes, I realized, yeah, I have to pay. I paid about $270 for the tax preparation software I use. I use TurboTax. I paid $270 for TurboTax. So I realized I need to be saving throughout the year to cover my TurboTax renewal. I also have my YNAB renewal. I absolutely love YNAB, and I finally have just kind of found my groove with it. And I think I've said this before, there is a learning curve with YNAB, but once you get it, it just clicks. And there are plenty of YouTubers who make YNAB videos. Nick True is one of the most highly recommended YNABers with a YouTube channel with plenty of YNAB tutorials. I highly recommend him. And so I know I have to pay $84 for YNAB in August. And unfortunately, I'm a little bit behind the curve when it comes to saving for that. So this is another sinking fund that I actually beefed up with the extra income I received this month. And I ended up adding $55. So now my subscriptions sinking fund has $55 in it. So now that I've gone through that whole spiel, let's go ahead and add up how much I actually added to my sinking funds for the month. And so I added a total of $855.05 to my sinking funds this month. I am amazed. That is really remarkable. And that is all thanks to the stimulus and the tax return, because I think I budgeted to put, let's see, I only budgeted to put $580 towards sinking funds this month, and I surpassed that goal because of the additional income, which I am so grateful for. Now, I also did spend from my sinking funds with the Costco renewal, so I am going to note that there. Okay, so now let's see how much I actually have in my sinking funds altogether. I have across all my sinking funds and my emergency fund $2,046.08. So what I'm going to do to double check this number is I'm going to add this bottom row, and then subtract the expenditures. So I started with $1,311.01. I added in a total of $855.05. I used $120. So yes, I'm off about, I am off about 2 cents. So I'm just going to use this first number because these totals over here are based on what's actually in my account. So now seeing this number, seeing $2,046.06, as someone who is not a saver, this is why this particular part of budgeting and tracking is working so much better for me, because I have it written down, and then I also have it over here in accounts where I can just log into my account and actually view how much money is in each of these sinking funds. So I really know where I stand. And this has just been like completely revolutionary to me. So thank you all so much for watching this video. I apologize. I know that it was quite long, and I'm sure I got really passionate throughout it. Again, I'm very satisfied and very pleased with myself. And I'm just so thankful for the additional income I received this month. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.